Letter 32, camp near Fredericksburg, Virginia, December 21st, 1862. My dear Georgie, again I am well at camp. We are inside of the enemy and he appears quite saucy. One day before yesterday, Federals must have heard what they considered good news as they cheered bustingly, and they made little no noise. Federals in last fight here fought very bravely, but our boys had the advantage of position and they slaughtered them. Federals will cross the river again and again, and you may expect to hear more of hard fighting here or near here. Our regiment worked last night digging rifle pits. I happened to be on guard duty and remained at camp. The weather here is quite cold, and the men on the outpost must suffer. Our company is scantily clothed. Some of them are in rags. The clothing McMillan had for us is at Hanover Junction, 37 miles from here. Clothing you sent me by Lieutenant Worthington is lost. It arrived at depot about 3 miles from here, about the time the fighting commenced. No person was there to take charge of it, and it was stolen. We have been unfortunate, but for persons ought to be trusted with clothing for soldiers, as there are but few who will put themselves to trouble necessary to ensure it reaching those from whom it was sent. I censure Ralph for not coming with the clothing from Richmond and remaining with it at the depot until it could have been transferred to the company. Ralph may be excusable as he is put in charge of Captain Moore for our regiment, who after arriving at depot did not wait for arrival of a freight train, but left a man from the regiment to take charge of the clothing. The man took charge of the clothing for his company and let ours and Moore's take care of itself. Fighting commenced and clothing was sent back to Hanover Junction. Moore's clothing, Worthington's trunk, and a bunch of clothing he bought from home for us is all lost. Was stolen at the depot near here. We are good mad enough to do some fighting if the Federals will cross that river, which they will do. I would give $50 to fight Mr. Burnside in an old-fashioned fist and skull fight this morning. Oh, how I would black his eyes. I feel like I would just demolish him. I think I would tear him to pieces worse than half a dozen teams would tear a half-grown rabbit. Georgia, I feel desperate this morning. The bursting of a few shells around me would probably unintelligible. Health of the company is good. John Martin's health is much better than it was some time ago. No person from our neighborhood absent but Holmes and Minyard. Minyard has not returned to the company. Georgia, Prince tells me that Brother Edward has not been to see you since I left home. I shall never forgive him for it. Not that I expected any favors from him. Why, I am displeased at his conduct, but I think he has shown by his conduct that he cares very little for you and Johnny. I can never forgive him. My feelings are hurt at his conduct, and I know I will never recover from anything of that kind, Georgie, I hope this time is not far distant when we shall part no more on this earth. I don't think the war can continue much longer. Let it terminate as it will. I shall be happy with you and Johnny. I don't think the time will be long before we meet. In the meantime, take care of your health and be cheerful as you can be, trusting in God for my return to you. I will write to Sarah day after tomorrow. Remember me to all the family. Your husband, Elias Davis.